My name is Chris, and this is Christmas time in the city. Thank you for joining us today. We are live streaming at the Highline Park, Meatpacking District, New York City, Manhattan. Highline starts at Gainsfort Street, just north of West 12th, and runs all the way to 34th Street now. Let's talk a little bit about the Highline. Way back when, before they had access to large trucks and things to do a lot of the shipping in the city, they would use these above ground railroads. And once they became obsolete due to trucks and such, the Highline, as it would become known as, became abandoned. Much like this, you can see now, a lot of these trees are still the trees that were in there originally. And in the early 2000s, all the way up until 2016, they started doing this and creating this urban space. Super cool. You see like the junction in the ground there. Standard hotel. Rumor is that you often see a lot of people naked up there. I don't think I see anybody currently. Apparently that's the thing that people like to do. Pretty cool hotel. Definitely getting quite a bit of sun right now currently. So the walk continues. These are the Manhattan Samsung offices, very cool looking. The Highline was renovated in 3 different stages. The first from where we just started at Gainsfort up until 20th Street, and then 20th to 30th, and finally the 30th to 34th, which ends at the Vessel at Hudson Yard. We have a video we walked through there. You can find that on our YouTube. Pretty cool contrast here. It's always been fun to walk through. Imagine in like the 80s and 90s when this was all abandoned and you just come up here and walk like this. I'm sure there was all kinds of drug use and things happening up here, but it's still really cool to think about. Yeah. What's that called? You know what that was? That's the little island thing that we haven't talked about in the podcast. We recorded it, but we didn't edit it yet. But it's a park to look forward to in 2021. So this is still a elevated train track. Some of them are in through the buildings themselves, which made delivering to them very easy. Highline was going to be demolished fact, one of Mayor Giuliani's last things he did when he was in office was to write or sign legislation that would have had it demolished. To be fair, it probably looked like complete garbage. When they were trying to figure out what they wanted to have here in place of the High Line or what to do on the High Line, they had some ideas. They had some contests and things where they talked about different scenarios. One of them was to put a roller coaster up here, which would have been pretty nuts. But they also had the idea for a mile-long lap pool. That would be I'm not sure if that's a lap pool, if you can only do the one. Luckily, they settled on these things, which is fun. Let's take a look over here, West Side Highway. So across the water over there is New Jersey. Just down this way, a bit further on the corner, there's Chelsea Piers. It's where they film Law and Order SVU. They also have some really fun sports activities there. They have an ice skating rink and trampolines and gymnastics classes and stuff. Here we are at Giorgio Armani. It's interesting to think whenever you walk around the city and you kind of look, and every once in a while you'll get a peek into someone's life or their work life or their apartment. You think, wow, that's a really nice apartment. But in the same moment, you have to think too that if I'm able to walk by and just kind of see in, is it really that great? But if you're at work, like maybe you want the inspiration or the distraction. I don't know. Here we are now at Chelsea Market. Chelsea Market is thriving in its time, and it's once again had a resurgence with a lot of really cool food options and stuff. Google has an office over in Chelsea Market. Originally, Nabisco had their offices in Chelsea Market. Now, we're just walking through this thing here. Pretty cool view of the Edge building there at Hudson Yard. Looks very much like the Avengers Tower. Pretty cool. One of the taller open air observation decks in New York City. So for context, we're now at 16th Street and 10th Avenue. We started just north of 12th. During the week, there are no restrictions, or I shouldn't say restrictions, there are no reservations necessary. during the weekend you have to have reservations. So keeping that in mind, we decided to come on a Sunday. Because parking is easier on Sundays, and also we wouldn't have to worry about being overcrowded because of the reservations. And it's not too bad. I will say there is a certain power with the camera. I think people just don't want to be around it, so they usually try to veer away from you, which is nice.
I found the guy through the...
There's like a photo shoot of some sort happening over here. I'm gonna stop over here, get this mask off, and have some iced coffee. Currently 46 degrees here in Manhattan. We're close to the water on the west side, so it's a little bit chillier just from the water coming in. It's not too bad overall. The sun's about to go down. It's 4:30 currently, depending on when you're watching this, whether you're watching it live or in the future on our YouTube channel. Hello, thank you for watching on our YouTube channel. It's one of the more boring parts of the video, but when you get an iced coffee and you're sitting here staring at it, what are you gonna do? You gotta have a sip. Anyway, let's go. Artichoke Pizza. Quite a few locations around the city. I recommend it. It's real good. No one's eating outside today. I would say that aside from the residences, there's not a whole lot going on here yet currently. Let's take a look over here and look at this thing real fast. When they originally designed this specific area, they wanted to have a large glass pane where you would be able to look straight out without having any sort of railing in the way. And they said you couldn't do that because you would need to have at least a railing as tall as a person. So what they did was they just sunk the entire thing down and then made this the railing. So you can still look out there. It's really cool to look from over there. Take a gander at some of these apartments here, or condos, wherever they happen to be. Again, is it that nice if I can see it from here? This is your view. I don't know. Is it worth probably $8,000? I don't know. Most likely not. But if you have the money and it's close to work and it's convenient, then who cares, right? You can see the building market is still going strong. This one's being constructed here. These two are still under construction. You can't tell probably from the video, but that's still going on. There's Chelsea Piers down that way. We'll have to get over there at some point. I think it's worth talking about. It's a fun area. Did a little bit of work over there with Law and Order a while back. making it sound a lot cooler than it seems, but it counts. This is 10th Avenue, this one right here. Pretty close to the west side. If you know anything about the city, it's very much a grid once you get up past around 12th or so. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So for reference, this is 18th Street, West 18th Street. West is unnecessary if you're saying where you're on 10th and 18th, but for the fun of saying as specifically as possible, we're at 10th Avenue and West 18th Street currently. On the High Line, spectacular view of the Empire State Building. Let's get a look at, there it is. Empire State Building's a fun one. We'll cover that at some point too. It's just some really interesting concept art. When they were still building it, they wanted to have it as a dirigible landing area, hitching posts basically. It's pretty crazy, some of the pictures. They never did it though because the wind would have just been too crazy. Tough guy with a broken muffler. Let's see what it looks like. What's the mitten issue?
You didn't want to wear them, but he also didn't want to have them dangling.
I gotcha. He looks awesome though. Brief cameo from the co-host of this podcast and YouTube channel, my wife Kristen and my child. And we're back on the walk. Masks up. There we go. So you can see they got these markers here, but that seems, if it was that packed, I'd be pretty bummed. But at any time, so luckily it's not like that. I know for a while the High Line was only open in one direction, but now they've opened up in both directions, so you don't have to walk back down on 10th Avenue to get back to where you started, which is nice. Pretty cool apartments here. Pretty cool apartments here. Very, very close. Incredibly close. Oh man, I am uncomfortable with how close we're going to be with the camera right now. That's an office, I think. I'm just going to pretend like I don't have anything. Maybe they won't. Alright, this is just someone's office. She's probably more used to it than I am. That's interesting. She's got a nice office though. It's a nice couch. It's a brief look inside of a New York City office. Next to a server room of some sort. Here we go. Still walking. It's a narrow path. Luckily, I grabbed the stroller, so I am a tank right now. No one's going to want to hit me. It's great. Let's take another look down at 19th. Under construction. Give you an idea what some of these backyards look like here. This is someone's backyard. an expensive apartment, absolutely, but completely visible from the High Line part. Who would live there? I don't know. Maybe a Rachel Dratch of some sort, who's got the cash, but is also trying to save some money. I don't know. Whatever the case may be. Still a nice apartment. Much nicer apartment than I will ever have. I've relinquished the stroller, so people will start hitting me now as I'm walking. It starts to get dark around this time of year, around this time, so this will most likely be a partial daytime video and then a nighttime video as well. I wonder if we'll come back this way. I think we'll probably walk back on the High Line. Another great view of Empire State Building. Probably doesn't look nearly as nice as it probably does in person, and also now a sign for a building, an advertisement for the building that is right there. So that's fun. Again, taking a look on these. Definitely really cool to walk through.
And so I said that in the morning. And, oh god. So I didn't, I was working, but I didn't think it was like
Christmas time in the city. It's a holly tree of some sort. See, we tied it in. We've justified the entire walk. Another shot. I'm gonna look forward, but I'm gonna poke it over this way so you guys can take a look and see if there's anything to see at all. I don't know. Pretty cool apartments, looks like. Little kid doing some homework. I will not record that. That would be creepy. You're on West 22nd now. Still walking up. The first chunk of the High Line that was refurbished and restored was from Gainsfort Street to West 20th. 20th to 30th was part 2, and finally 30th through 34th, which was just completed not too long ago. Funko statue of some sort. I don't know what it is, but it looks awesome. It's probably some type of cool hip office that I would never have a chance of working in. It's fine. I actually did work over here at one point. We'll pass by that not too long from now, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that. But I did work over in this area for a few years. Fun mural. I'm sure it's not fun, I'm sure it's important, but some cool stairs here that we're going to take a look at. Maybe have a seat for a second while my child drinks something and has a bit of a snack, if that's okay with you. Oh, that's alright, he's mobile. Let's take a look again at this one. See if we can, how much higher we can get a better view of what this is. All right, so that appears to be one of the only offices that's occupied currently in this building, but it looks awesome. And then right down here on this scaffolding, there's a table and chairs, like a whole patio set up, which is not how you're supposed to use scaffolding. But it's a funny concept nonetheless. The way the scaffolding works here in the city is periodically inspectors will come and inspect the outside of the buildings to make sure that there's no pieces that are loose. And if they determine there are pieces loose, then within 24 hours, scaffolding has to be erected to protect people on the sidewalk. So at some point they decided that they needed to fix the facade of this building here. In the meantime, they just put a patio there. So that's fun. Onward. So for reference in regards to the time that we were here, people are doing pretty good with their masks. There's no one really posted out anywhere. Everyone's just doing the right thing. On a whole, I think largely people have been doing that in Manhattan and New York City in general. There's certain offshoots that aren't doing that, but for the most part, people are being pretty good about it. What does that say? What is that? I don't know. Someone paid a lot of money for it. Somebody okayed that. Laundry room. Very important. If you're looking for an apartment in the city, you want an on-site laundry room, if not in the unit. Our first apartment in New York City, in Brooklyn rather, had a washer and dryer in the apartment, and it was awesome. We didn't really take advantage of it enough. I'm sure we did, but you don't realize how important a washer and dryer is until you're without. We had a laundromat for a while. Now we have a laundry room in our building. It's 23rd and 10th, making our way up. That's old school New York, it looks like right there. It's crazy. Every window is another story. Pretty crazy to think that there's probably, on that whole block, 10,000 people live in there. It's gotta be, it's dense. Very cool though. Very cool. Photo shoot coming up. We're making a YouTube video, so we're gonna go too. People gotta get their new profile pics. It seems like this is almost becoming a video just tour of people's backyards. People living. So, wasted back area here. There's a storage currently. It's a bummer. What is happening in there? There's some interesting stuff happening here. I'm gonna go back.
What's up?
Oh, okay. I'll tell you what I thought it looked like, and then I'll tell you what it actually is. I thought it was a shut down establishment, a food establishment with fungus and stuff growing in those containers. But it turns out those are actual plants of some sort that are growing in those on purpose in the middle of an abandoned place. I think this is actually a school. This is a new school. So wait 1 second. And we're back. This is West 26th Street. I worked on West 26th Street, just over that way. every day I would walk this way right here. Underneath this portion of the High Line and over towards my car. Not my car, what story am I telling? Towards the train. Let's take a look down here. Whew. West 26th, 10th Avenue. No idea what time it is. Gotta be at least 5. Almost 5. It's 5 to 5. This walk is unofficially brought to you by Starbucks. These are the iced pistachio. Iced pistachio. We were talking before we left that we didn't think it was quite appropriate enough to have hot coffees because it would have gotten too cold, and then we would have been walking around with cool coffees instead of iced coffee, so we went with iced coffee. Iced coffees win all time. Don't mind a nice iced coffee for wandering around the city. So we're currently walking on the High Line for anyone that's watching this intermittently. High Line is a elevated park on what was once an abandoned freight train line. Runs from just north of West 12th Street all the way to 34th Street. We're currently around 26th, 27th. Making our way all the way to the end of 34th. 34th Street is where Hudson Yards is located on the west side. It's where the vessel is also at, we have a video of the vessel on our YouTube channel, so feel free to check that out if you haven't already. There's the Empire State Building off in the distance behind all those trees. Put them in your pocket. This is pretty cool. There's some fun statues and stuff there. I appreciate that. We're approaching twilight here in Manhattan. High Line closes at 6 o'clock, I believe. That's probably seasonally different, but that's 6 o'clock is around dusk, so that's probably when it would be shut down. Pretty crazy to be honest with you. This place might take the cake. If you look down in there, underneath right here, that's an underground pool, I guess. So they have their own heated indoor pool. This place is probably very expensive. Let's take a creep look. This right here is someone's bathroom. So if you don't have any curtains in your bathroom, I'm going to point it out on the internet. Sorry. Got a real good view of somebody in an apartment. Look at this. Look at the realtor and trying to sell this place. Look at the realtor. Like, oh, you're gonna love it. It's $2,500 a month. It's 1 bedroom, and people can see directly into your apartment. 25 is conservative. That's probably closer to 3,000-4,000.
These are probably more than.
Yeah. If you can get into these ones. Look at that fun thing right there. That probably looks cool underneath. As the sign says, we're now in West Chelsea. If that's a thing, I don't know. I think West Chelsea is one of those things that realtors try to sell flipping as. Still a nice neighborhood. You'd be hard pressed to find a really bad neighborhood in Manhattan, at least lower Manhattan. Although I would say now, anywhere in Manhattan itself, you're going to probably be okay for the most part. That's a fun little area right here. It's on the other side of how you can't even get to it. So this, I guess, so that they can watch people that are walking the High Line itself, have a nice time with that. We're probably about 2 stories up though, so probably not a whole lot of getting onto the High Line from there. See how much further we can go without leaving. If we leave, I'm not sure we can get back in with the reservation. Just to kind of connect the dots a little bit. That's the vessel at Hudson Yards. We're at Hudson Yards. Want to see more of that, we have a whole video where I lifted all the way up to the top of that. It's pretty tall. Didn't quite expect it to be so tall. But that's that. Yeah. This is the newest part from the 30th to 34th. That completes the full run of the High Line. Are we going to walk back on it? Maybe. Maybe. I don't want to exit though. If we exit, I'm not sure we can go back in. Let's see. Let's go over and see if we can. I think it's out though. The child wants what he wants. So let's come over here and decide what we're gonna do. In the meantime, this is the Walgreens right there. This is the end of around 34th. I believe we're going to walk down now. child is in desperate need of a second nap today. Fortunately, we're about 1.45 miles to the beginning of the High Line, which is where we parked. So we're going to walk back there now. Hello. This will be a fun video because I believe we're going to probably get a fun evening view of the High Line as well, which one of the fun things about the city is the view is vastly different depending on what time of day you're walking. Now it's all lit up, really fun. And you get to see some more apartments from a different view at least. Would you want to? How much would you pay to live there? If I had to predict, I would say $7,000 a month. No parking spot. No pets. They're coming. Anyway, we continue. So now we're heading south, parallel to 10th Avenue. Currently at West 29th Street. Surprise, her hair is pink.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also a mess. That lamp would terrify me every single time I walked into the room.
Right?
So that's a person-sized lamp. Very cool apartment though. There's a guitar on the wall, clearly a recording artist of some sort. That's where someone that, like a Maroon 5's assistant would live. Not Adam Levine himself. West 28th Street. Looking towards the west. Down past that way is New Jersey. It's not too bad. Here we go. Continuing on. Walking down south on the High Line. Started at Gainsborough Street. Walked all the way to 34th to Hudson Yard. Now we're walking back down south on the High Line back to our car. that? It's a reflection of the Empire State Building. That's the spot. If you're trying to get a good picture, if you're a good photographer, go to there right there. Find that spot. Person ate some chips over there. Reminded me I got some dip at home I need to get into, so thank you, random person living your life in your apartment. A lot of the vegetation they have out here on the High Line is vegetation that was already here, at least a species of it, so that they can keep it pretty accurate to the way it was. At least this part. This is when it was still abandoned. This was overrun by all this kind of dead grass and gnarly looking trees and stuff. There's always kind of little fun runoff areas for you to hang out. So all in all, I would say for a Sunday evening in January, when it's usually pretty crowded, I would say this isn't too bad. They are kind of staggering people, though, with the reservations, but for the most part, anyone can come in, because we had no problem getting a reservation on our way here. The reservation is obviously free because this is a public park. Yeah, so that's that school. It's weird to see like cafeteria setups. I haven't been in a cafeteria like 20 something years. So it's weird to like see cafeteria layout. This is a pretty progressive private school though. So I imagine that Hugh Jackman's kids probably go to this place. I'm sure it's not accurate, but that's the vibe I'm picking up. So this is West 25th Street. Making our way down. Not a whole lot going on in the city tonight. Felt pretty safe. Everyone's been pretty distant on the High Line. I'm sure you may have noticed otherwise, but you got to cross over paths eventually. Everyone's been wearing masks, which is always very nice. Here's the saddest thing I've ever seen. Dismantling a Christmas tree. I am so bummed out. I'm sorry, guys. Please don't flag this video. Yeah. So, the Christmas trees can't stay up all year long, unfortunately, and that guy's coming down tonight. Some fun Christmas lights up there on whatever building that is. And then I heard this when we were walking by earlier. It seems like there's some type of a security alarm going off here. These are a lot of galleries around in this area, like art galleries and stuff. So maybe there's an art gallery heist. I don't know. This looks like a residence. It's a pretty legit place. Anyway, continuing on. Righty. Okay. heart wants what it wants. The child wants what he wants. The child wants to walk.
Okay, well, they were like literally.
So I will happily take the reins of the stroller while our toddler child son scurries around the High Line. That's all he wants, you know? All he wants is to run around free. Run into high bushes and stuff. Oh, there's an airplane somewhere. He's super into airplanes now, so this may become an airplane tour. Outdoor space is usually kind of tricky with New York City apartments. For the most part, it's usually the only person that has access to it is the person on the ground floor, unless there's a different agreement set up amongst the tenants. The trade-off of that is that you're on the ground floor, which sucks. So you don't want to be on the bottom. It's better to be on top, even though the walk sometimes sucks. You have to take the bad for the good. But you do get outdoor space. You don't often see a lot of rooftop space advertised in apartments because it's very difficult to get insured for that kind of stuff. So, while you may have access somehow to your roof, primarily it's not something your landlord is pumped about. You can imagine in the summertime, this patch of grass here is just packed with people in blankets and towels and stuff, reading and enjoying the afternoon. You get quite a bit of sun over here. It's a fun park. But they got the grass all blocked off now. You don't see too many balconies in the city either. Here's a great example of me eating my shoe, but for the most part, there's not a whole lot of balconies. You will find a fair amount of our fire escapes. Fire escapes are just as good as a balcony for people in New York City. Not allowed to really go out on them, but sometimes you got to get some fresh air. Take another sanctioned iced coffee break. He just does not want to be still. I keep thinking that I gotta stop recording, but he just wants to go straight. And for the most part, it's me that's slowing everybody down with my constant iced coffee drinking. For that, I truly apologize. like I mentioned before, the Highline Park closes around 6 o'clock, which I imagine is probably dusk year-round, but just gets a little dark here earlier in the wintertime, so 6 o'clock they're shutting down. I imagine if you're up here, they probably won't kick you off, but they will eventually kind of push you out, I guess. West 21st Street.
Oh, you might not be able to see it.
In the distance, you can see Chelsea Pier. And again, over that way, Empire State Building. So I found the rotate very quickly button. That'll be fun to watch later on.
That little girl?
No.
This building?
It's funny, on occasion, you will see people actually exercise running up on here, which seems so crazy because it's so narrow at some points. I can't imagine that it would be easier to run up here. Oh well. And there are several exits to the High Line along the route. There are 3 exits, I believe, with an elevator, which you don't necessarily need, but if you have a stroller or a wheelchair or whatnot, the elevators are essential. Oh, goodness.
Oh, that's crazy. My something wrong.
This guy was out here earlier taking pictures of something. Oh, I see. He's taking pictures of the art gallery that currently escapes me the name. There we go. Continuing on. Look at this kitchen right here. I can't think of a kitchen that's more exposed. It's like a doctor's office or something. I don't know.
Upper West Side. It wouldn't go as far. Yeah.
That's just about going to do it, I think, for this live stream. We're almost to the bottom. I'm going to pack it away, enjoy the rest of the walk. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, wherever you're looking at it, give it a like. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Christmas Time in the City podcast. We have a podcast. My wife and I talk about Christmas time in the city and other things in the city, a lot of tourist stuff. So give us a follow, give us a listen. Until next time, I'm Chris, and this is Christmas Time in the City.